They're going to get side by side again. Last time it didn't quite work. Can he make it stick this time? He's not fully passed, but he held on as they swing back in. A little bit of car contact between them. That sends him out. Topi's going to pounce on it. He's going to try and take that second place back as it goes through Brooklyn's tires spinning up as Simone is not willing to give way. He's got the inside back and through, more side-to-side contact between he and his rival. Somehow they come out the other side, but it's still not done, DJ. It's down to cops they go.
Oh, it's really close. Here we go. It's Galindo. He tries to make the move on U-Bluth as they send Hideki Koivisto flying.
Koivisto manages not to hit the wall. I think he's going to be okay, but he's not going to be happy about that.
Galindo, he's going for a braking move on Fabian U-Bluth. He's going to send it deep into turn 7. He's going to be on the inside as they head around the corner. He should have the position, but U-Bluth holds out. They're going to go side by side as they go into the S's.
Oh, can he get this done finally? Oh. Chucks it in, but he goes a little too deep. Coming back at him. Here comes U-Bluth trying to take this fourth away. Again, this will tie the points lead. If Aitor can get past him, they're going to run together. Little bit of contact, splitting either side of Marco Lay. Who's going to win the battle down into the braking of the hairpin?
Well, and let's take a look at that. That may have been a mistake there from Jeff Schmeier going for the move. How he kept that out of the side of the number 220 is beyond belief, but amazing car control there from the number 30.
Not close enough to Timo for this lap by. Oh, but look into the first corner. That's for the lead. Kortaniemi on the attack on Partanen, but he's going to be vulnerable as Simone sees the chance. Now that he's slow off the corner, swings around him, and he is through down into Maggots and Beckett's.
And this is where things get extremely complicated. He's going to try and go on the outside, gets pushed out wide into the grass, loses it, and now we're all along for the ride.
Whoa! I know there's a rallycross course here, but this car's not made for that. And he got air, all four wheels off the ground, still kept it out of the barrier and brought it back. That's going to likely cause a little damage to the car regardless, but great heads up by the 16.
He's going to have to go the long way around the left-handed sweeper here. Is he going to be ahead by the time they get into the braking zone? Are we going to see side-by-side for 2 successive laps going through Moss? Little bit of maybe contact there for Ozowski, bumping and banging and bumping as they exit the corner.
Luis Nunez tries to cover it off, then it's going to try and pinch as they go towards turn 1, but he'll get just about what he needs. Oh, he has a big moment in the middle, and up and under, Jukka Tolonen, experience prevailing.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to ride around the world.
I'm Mick Claridge, and I'm going to ride around the world on my bike.
My son, he gave me advice at the start of this ride, and he looked at me and just said, "Dad, don't be a moron."
Let me do my animal signal to gain their respect.
How's it going, Sally? Yeah, I'm alright, Mick. How's it going?
Worse than that bit in Lord of the Rings where they got into the top and the spiders in the tunnel. I'm just hoping there's a spider at the top of this one to kill me.
Freezing.
And I failed. I moroned up the ride.
While the Aston Martin has proved the more popular of the GT1 cars in this series, Sebring can be considered home territory for the Corvette. Having taken momentous wins at this track in the real world, it'll place an extra importance on those in the bow tie to take the checkers. We'll see if they can against a sea of British cars as we get ready to watch round 8 of the RTA GT1 Challenge, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is SRO driver Michael Johnson. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. If you haven't seen or heard of Sebring before, it's definitely a part of sports car racing's hallowed grounds. Let's head to our track guide to learn more. Welcome to Sebring International Raceway. Home to the 12 Hours of Sebring, one of the most grueling tests in endurance racing, this is a track which has earned a fearsome reputation among drivers. The circuit itself is located on the southeastern edge of the city of Sebring, Florida, and was built out of Hendricks Army Airfield shortly after World War II. 3 layouts are currently in use, ranging from 1.7 to 3.7 miles in length. The longest course, which is perhaps the most well-known with it being the one used for the famed endurance race, shockingly still contains portions of the original airfield surface. It's this aspect which has become a signature feature of the track, making it extremely bumpy for racing. Sunset Bend in particular nearly shakes cars apart while they attempt to navigate the high-speed 180-degree corner. As you'd expect for the side of an airfield, there's nearly no elevation change over the course of a lap, but many of the curves are dramatically tall and unforgiving, daring drivers to glance them yet not hit them directly. Thankfully, places to pass are plentiful, including spots like the Hairpin and Cunningham. However, the many fast, sweeping turns creates a dilemma for car setup, since a vehicle that's made too stiff could wind up bottoming out on the onerous bumps. In the end, if you have the wherewithal to withstand the track's rough nature, you're likely to fare well. And since Florida fans almost always show up in huge numbers to witness this test of car and driver, you'll have plenty to impress at this legendary North American road course. Well, Michael, Sebring should put on a good show as it usually does, especially with these GT1 cars and all the oomph underneath the hood.
Indeed, it does. This track, each cars really, it's a very long 3.7 miles. What I mean by that is you have about 500 or 600 different track surfaces through here. So many different little bits of patch and stuff. This is an old airfield turned into a racing course, and now everybody knows Sebring. Sebring is one of those, it's one of the biggest races, and they actually test cars for the 24 hours at Le Mans here, because if they can do 12 hours at Sebring, they can do 24 hours at Le Mans. Le Mans here is one of the big corners that you're going to have to watch, though. That's the next to the last corner on this track heading down the Ullman Straight. If you nail it, you're going to get a good run. But if you don't nail that corner, you're probably going to get past going into Sunset Bend. One of the bigger spots for us to watch for passes is through Sunset Bend. And I just call it turn 17 because there are 17 ways into it, 17 ways out of it, and all of them are correct. Other big spots to watch down into the hairpin. I think we're going to see some good passing coming up into there. Always exciting to see just how late they can get on the brakes through those different surfaces on the track. Going through Cunningham and Collier around a tower, I expect we're going to see a lot of side-by-side that has to shake itself out by tower as they power down through Bishop to get to Gendebien.
Yeah, certainly some technical portions of this track. There's no doubt about that, and some very bumpy ones as well. But let's take a look at the points here as they sit right now. Rowwinkle, excuse me, trying to catch up to Rory O'Shea. That was an honest mistake, I promise. Doherty is sitting in third, and Dowling is being closely followed by Homantis there for the fourth position. And again, every race counts for points at even amounts here, and there's going to be 3 here today, so it might seem like relatively large gaps, but things can so easily switch around before today is over. But for today's race details, why don't we head on over to Michael.
So for today's race, the first race, 15 minutes. Grid is set by qualifying, which is going on right now. Second race, only 10 minutes. You got to get it done quick. But the grid is set by the way they finish in race number 1. Race number 3, 20 minutes. The top 8 are going to reverse. So that means whoever finishes 8th place in race number 2 is your pole sitter in that third race. Now, there's a drive-through penalty at 15 incidents, disqualification at 20 incidents. Incidents come up pretty quickly here at this track. It's very easy to get it off track, which will give you an incident point. And as I was mentioning earlier with that side-by-side, rubbing is racing, but it's going to cost you 2 points.
Indeed. So you want to keep it clean as best you can. Granted, you do get those incident limits per race as well. So hopefully they won't use them up with them being relatively short out here. Rowinkle actually has the provisional pole right now by about 0.3 of a second over Jordan Kelly. So it's pretty handy, and we've been talking about the Chevys versus the Astons. Well, there's only 2 Chevys here today, Hermantis in one of them and Malone in the other. They're currently 7th and 9th respectively, so struggling a little bit currently.
I would expect the Corvette to do a little better here based on history, but having driven both of these cars in iRacing, I find it a lot easier to drive the Aston. It feels better in my hands. Now, I do know other people who really feel like the Corvette is the car to drive. I just can't keep it pointed in the right direction. Other people, much more talented at doing that, and they actually tend to hate the Aston Martin. But with this predominantly UK and Ireland group, I expect, obviously, as we are seeing here, most everyone is driving that Aston.
Yeah, definitely leaning towards that. We saw that at Interlagos in the first round as well that we covered earlier on in the season. Flying down into Sunset Bend, this is Dowling being chased by McCann. McCann's going to go way wide out of there, and Dowling trying to improve on his lap. Looks like he's on a quick one. Is this going to improve? 55.9 is definitely quicker. That'll put him into 4th, so outside of the 2nd row.
And I'm thinking that may have been a little team shenanigans there, possibly allowing a very nice draft coming off of Le Mans heading down the Ullman Straight to get to turn 17. I didn't see the earlier part of that, so maybe I'm wrong, which happens quite often, actually.
Also, Jordan Kelly's getting close to finishing a lap in the 11. He's in 2nd place that I mentioned was trying to chase Boss in that 58. But Rowinkle's actually up by 0.4 of a second, 0.3 of a second, it looks like, on this lap. So it could stretch even farther away from Jordan. Let's see what the yellow and black Aston has underneath him as he comes around Sunset Bend. He holds to the inside line, and then he abandons his lap as it looks like he's not happy with it. This is Rowinkle on screen right now.
Yeah, Rowinkle, watch him here as he goes into that turn 17. Infamous bumps as you go through this place. It is absolutely treacherous. You have to hold on and just kind of get lucky, especially when you're working these qualifying laps, because it is about the fastest lap. Doesn't work out, you can reset and get a new car. Nice lap there though for Rowinkle. 155, 128 does improve, opens up that gap to Kelly.
Oof, it is more than half a second now, and Kelly's pretty much done. He can't get back out to complete a qualifying lap, so we need Sergey in the number 12 to do something, or nope, Rory O'Shea is also in pit lane. So it looks like that 12 car's the last realistic hope at trying to topple Bas Rowinkle. Meanwhile, Jacob Money crosses the line, 56 flat, much better for him, and that'll get him into 6th place.
Yeah, and just trying to watch here. This is our last runner on track. This is Sergey trying to make his way into the last corner. Gonna be tight, 10 seconds to go. He has to put on the power right here before the bridge. That's where you want to put the power down. He's already in P3. Can he make it to the finish line? Very close. Oh, I don't think he made it.
No, he did not make it. It looks like they are not able to complete their qualifying laps as that is qualifying over and our first heat set for the day. That has Bas Rowinkle on the pole position. Jordan Kelly next to him as Sergey Grabin will be starting 3rd. Rory O'Shea, P4. It'll be Adam Dowling starting 5th, followed by Jacob Money in P6 and Peter McCann 7th. Jamal Gandor will be on the outside of that row. Argius Jamal will be starting in 9th with Ian Malone in 10th. The rest of the field will simply be Chan, McClements, and Stack and Reed in your 14-car field here today, which have just about got together. And they will have a rolling start, thankfully, because these are going to be beastly cars for them to try to get off the line on a standing start. And it gives them time to maybe mentally prepare for the what is going to be the slugfest of these first of 3 races today.
Yeah, trying to get these cars off the line, there would be a lot of wheel spin. You absolutely have to control that, even with the traction control. It's very easy to light up the back tires on these cars. They just have so much power.
It's also quite hot out here in the middle of Florida right now. It's 116 Fahrenheit on the track surface, although it's very good conditions for the fans at 76 Fahrenheit. Thankfully, not a lot of wind, but look at that, 47 Celsius, Michael. It's steamy on the tarmac today.
Oh, yes, it is. And that is not unusual. This is pretty close to a real life condition that we're seeing here. Even when it's only 25 degrees Celsius, 76 Fahrenheit, you're going to have this track burning up because the sun is beating down on it all day long. And the track just heats up. It gets warm and it gets a little bit greasy. But honestly, it is not that bad. And I think iRacing has done a very good job with this track in modeling the way the cars will slide through the day. It's typically not just this big grease fest where the cars are sliding all over the place. They've done a beautiful job with it. Just adds a little bit more, and with all the different surfaces, I think iRacing again has done a brilliant job with this track, making the cars feel just a little bit different. So you have to be careful with how you place the car when you are trying to race here.
Indeed, and as we see them head down into the hairpin, you can see that they're all ready to go here, lined up, still looking for that green flag to be unleashed from behind the Porsche pace car. 14 of them for 3 races, and each race affects the following one. So you have a bad race in the first one, and you're going to find yourself tumbling down the order and struggling to find your way back up in the following one. So we were talking about it before, Michael, that yes, Rory O'Shea has a pretty handy lead, but I think if anything for him, it's going to be damage limitation. Don't let something catastrophic happen, especially in that first race, and you can kind of cruise for the rest of it.
Yeah, sitting back in P4 right now is not a bad place to be if you're just looking for points maintenance, but it is a bad place to be for the people behind who really want to move on up, and they could make it for a very bad day for Rory in this case. So Rory just needs to keep his nose clean, run through this race, and just really finish and finish reasonably well, as we would expect from O'Shea.
Yeah. And Boss is the one that is chasing him. So he's done everything he needs to do up to this point. Now he just has to execute on the races themselves. He's got to try and win every one and go from there, as that will be the best they can do, really. Just collect maximum points and hope that Rory has a bit of a bad day and see where that takes him. But they've made their bed, they've got to lay in it, and then from there it all shake out. So we come on to the Ullman Straights, and they can see that final corner up ahead of them, and from there it'll be the first 15-minute race in this heat. So that's not going to be a lot of laps around a track of this length. The cars are powerful, but it's still close to 2 minutes just to circulate once.
It looks like they're already jockeying for position just a little bit. Guys, you got one more corner, and hey, flash the lights. Why not? Let's put a little fear in the hearts of the people in front of you.
And they're going to get unleashed in just a moment, because as they come around Sunset Bend, you'll see that Porsche pace car peel into the pit entry off to the driver's right-hand side. And then it'll be under the control of the 58. He's got control now. He's waiting on it, and the green flag is out. Looks like it is a clean start. In fact, he gets a pretty good jump over Jordan Kelly, who slots in behind him. It's a battle for third, though, as O'Shea's got a nose ahead, but he's on the outside coming into the first corner. A little bit of 3 wide behind them, but relatively orderly, except for one car getting bumped off. That looks like Tony Stack. Everybody carries on.
Yeah, looking up at the front of the field, we have Rowinkle and Kelly just kind of holding station, trying to just hold that position, not trying to push too hard. These two, I think, can pull away from the pack, and we get a little peloton going out front of those two, with the rest of the pack sitting behind them, struggling to catch up, because the pace of these two guys is just blazing.
Right now, it looks like they are handling this pretty well. Was trying to see where our two Chevys were, and right now it looks like the highest up is 8th place with Lamantis just stuck in the middle of the pack, but he's up one. A lot of curb there for Rowinkle as he came into Cunningham. He's got to be careful of that, and Kelly's still right on top of him on top of things as well.
Yeah, Kelly just holding on to the back there, knows what he needs to do, just holding on to the back. There is a big effect of the draft. Now, when I was out there playing around a little bit earlier, trying to do some ghost driving with these guys, and again, for those out there watching, you can ghost drive, and it's a lot of fun to see just how fast these guys are. But ghost driving with these guys got a little bit of draft. Once you get around them, though, that all that wing you have on there really starts to play a big drag game on the car, slows it down a lot. But if we take a look back in the field, I do want to take a look at those two Corvettes once we get through this corner here. Watching the way these two handle, are they going to be able to pull away, or are they going to get stuck just trying to hold on to the car? Looks like he's got very good control of the car. We are on board with Kelly right now. The car did not move around a lot. I think he's got a little bit left under the hood, under that right foot, to make something happen.
This is Jacob Money. Now, I think he may have clipped the wall coming through Sunset. Yeah, he did. He hit the outside wall and actually cut across Homantis and his Corvette, because I was watching to see how he handled, and he got two positions both from that accident and overtaking somebody at the same time, putting himself into 7th position. Now, there you can see chasing on the Aston Martin as they come out and into Big Bend. Doesn't look like he's got enough oomph on this one, though, to try and pass him down into the hairpin, but he could see that extra grunt underneath the hood come in handy later.
Yeah, Ari has done a beautiful job, up 2 positions already, trying to put power down, chase Peter McCann. Now, you've heard us talk about Peter McCann many times. Peter is very fast, and catching him is one thing, but getting around him, good luck. Peter's a very good racer, knows how to place his car. Even with that Chevy power trying to come catch him, it's going to be a tough job to get around him.
Looks like he's fallen off enough now that we could maybe take a glance back at what happened to Jacob Money into Sunset Bend. And I'm thinking first lap, maybe tires not fully up to temperature, because it seems to just, it wasn't anything super dramatic on entry here, Michael, just kind of keeps going.
Yeah, just kind of maybe overcooks it a little bit, gets too wide. Yeah, there you go, too wide. Couldn't quite get the brakes warmed up enough, I guess, trying to come through on that first lap. It looked like maybe missed the braking point would be my guess. Here we are on board. It is hard to see, but you watch those cones on the left side. You've got your 3, 2, 1 counting down to that corner bit, but yeah, I think he just overcooked it coming in a little bit.
Well, speaking of which, Peter McCann overcooked Le Mans and went off track, so Arias has now gotten into 6th position because of that. That's 3 games for the 171, trying to represent the bow tie here on home territory, and not doing too shabby, but he's got a little bit to go before he can crack the top 5. Right now, though, the Astons leading the podium, Rowinkle, Kelly, and O'Shea, are starting to break away a little bit, actually.
Yeah, nice little breakaway there, about a couple of seconds back to Sergey, who is trying to hold on. He's right at 2 seconds off of O'Shea. But Rowinkle, Kelly, and O'Shea holding on tight to each other. Looks like maybe a second between Rowinkle and Kelly, but Kelly to O'Shea, only about half a second. That's going to end up being a very interesting race for us to try to see how that unfolds over the next 10 minutes.
And I think Rory keeping Boss in his sights is definitely what he needs to do right now. He's only got 1 car between them as we continue to watch this battle for 4th. Grabbing and Dowling trying to sort this one out as they fly through the Collier section, one of the narrowest parts of the track, breaking down into Tower, and 2 very different lines on their way through there, but a tidy exit from Sergey.
Yeah, nice move there, trying to place the car in a position where you don't give the person behind you an advantage. There are a couple of ways to go through that corner, and if you can frustrate the guy behind you, that's actually really good racing. Now, just misses that apex on this one. That could prove beneficial to the chasing car, but does get a good enough exit. Maybe a little bit of wheel spin from the on board here. It was hard to tell if he did get any. Did close up just a little bit. Now we're into braking, and a little little bit of modulation back to throttle, has to miss him. Oh, just a little bit too slow at the apex of turn 17.
Still great corner there from Dowling in the orange and black as he starts to approach, looks to the inside. He's going to try and outbrake him, but he's very shallow into the corner. Cut back from Sergey and getting loose. It looks like Adam has to gather the car up. They now drag race down into turn 3. Little bit of a nose ahead for Adam. Dowling trying to get ahead. No, he cannot have it. Sergey is not willing to give way. Cuts back underneath him, gets the spot back, but it even still carries on now through Big Bend.
Yeah, very nice racing. There is the ability to go side by side there, but what happens when you do that? The guys in front of you just start pulling away. I think Sergey and Adam have both realized that O'Shea, Kelly, and Rowinkle are in a race of their own, and they're going, you know what, we're going to get ourselves some camera time here because, yeah, let's have some fun. And they absolutely are having a blast out there watching these guys going through so much of this track side by side.
Yeah, this is impressive. Dowling continuing to get Sergey to try and defend the inside down into Cunningham and back through where we picked them up about a lap ago. Man, he got right underneath that rear wing, but had no place to take it into Tower.
Yeah, Tower is a good spot to try to frustrate, but not a good spot to try to pass. You can absolutely frustrate somebody just by the way you go in there. Get a nose in or pretend like you're going to get a little bit of nose in there as long as they're watching their mirrors. But look how close he's getting as we come up into Gendebien, setting up for Le Mans. Gets the power down, coming out there, use all of that blue and white curbing on the outside. Now it's just up to the draft. Can he just sit behind the wing well enough to close it up as they work their way towards turn 17?
He's got a good bit of slipstream. He's going to show himself in the mirrors, but then decides against it. Cuts back, looks for maybe a better exit off the corner as he tries to diamond it off, and he's going to go very wide in comparison to Graben as they come off the turn. It pays off, though. He's got the momentum down into turn 1. This time he's got the inside, but once again, for the second lap in a row, he's entering extremely shallow. Sergey pulled off the over-under last time. He does it this time.
No, looks like he went for defense. Yeah, Dowling went for the defense on that over-under. He knew what to expect this time. Like, you fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, well, won't get fooled again. Is that the way that one went?
Something like that. Arias, though, is ready to try and fool both of them himself because the 171 is suddenly involved in this battle for fourth. A little bit of a defense from Graben down into the hairpin just to make sure that that Corvette can't get through. He'll sit behind them for now. They also brought along Peter McCann, so it's basically a 4-car battle.
4-car battle for P4 right here. This is turning into one of the best races we've seen from this field so far, and this is going to be an interesting way to play out the race, I think. If I were Peter McCann right here, he's the last car you see right there in the picture. If I were Peter McCann, I think I would let these guys just battle and battle and battle, wear out your tires, overuse some fuel, and then pounce when it's time. We've only got about a little under 6 minutes left in this race, 5 3/4 minutes to go. There is time to let these guys wear their tires out and then pounce on them. So I think if we watch Peter McCann, he's going to make up 1 or 2 spots. I don't think he's going to make them all up, but I would expect to see him in probably P5 by the end of the race.
Ooh, behind them, somebody is swinging all the way out to try and break the slipstream. That was McClements, I think, and Malone is going to get past because of it. So the Budweiser liveried Chevrolet is up into 8th with that overtake. Behind him, that is Wingfei Chan in the number 13, trying to see if he can get involved as well. They'll come around to complete lap 5 themselves. And we've only lost Gandour as well as Jacob Money up to this point. Gandour, unfortunately, having connection problems costing him his race.
Yeah, I saw that early on. That was around lap 2, lap 3. Gandour just couldn't quite keep that internet connection happening. I feel your pain, buddy. It's happened to me before too. But if we take a look back here, this race for P4 is getting really interesting. If you're watching the chess match going on here, there are minor little moves. Just show the light here, or your headlights in the right mirror, then back to the left mirror, just a little bit. All you got to do is get into the head of the guy in front of you, and you can make something happen.
Oh, and McClements just had an off coming out of the hairpin, self-spin. So don't need a replay on that one. The 10 car falls down to 10th because of that, as we carry on watching the battle for third. Now, I think Rory O'Shea looks like he has lost touch with the top two. I'm not sure if there was a mistake in there, but I'll double check. It doesn't look drastic, but he's definitely away from the pair of them as they come down into Jean Debian once again. And still, Hamantis is pressurizing Sergei's number 12 machine. In fact, was very strong mid-corner, but poor exit out of Le Mans.
Yeah, that's a little more dirt than I like to see generally kicked up there. Adam Dowling leading this group. We are on board as we watch them come down into turn 17. A little bit of movement, a little bit of playing, trying to throw off the chasing driver and the leading driver. So if we're watching there, I think Sergei has got an ace up his sleeve here. Let's watch as we see them go down into turn one. Little juke out, trying to get into the head once again of Adam Dowling, but Adam saying, no, I've played this game already. Oh, and it may have worked. He goes off of turn one.
Can he get it slowed up in time? He was very shallow into turn three. Somehow he does, with dirty tires and everything behind him. Sergei is right on top now, but so is Hamantis. Let's see if anybody's got enough of a run to try and attack down into the hairpin as they head into the braking zone of this right-hander. Big defense from Dowling, and once again, he keeps entering these corners so shallow when he defends.
Yeah, major defense, rear end of the car, gets very squirrely there. This is effectively a straight. Yeah, there are a couple of bends through here, but this is full power down, getting into the brake zone. Once again, there is overlap as we watch him get into Cunningham, around to Collier, but Dowling has got control of this car. It's like he's trying to put on a little bit of a drift show, gets the rear end just squirrely enough to stay ahead, but wow, this is starting to get very exciting.
Arias almost took a look at a pass down in the tower himself as they now head through Bishop, single file, thankfully, and into Jean Debian. Let's look to see who can get the run out of Le Mans. This is going to be the critical part. We've already seen one off track from Dowling going too wide on the exit. This time he keeps it in check.
A little bit better use of the track there from Graben. We'll see if that pays dividends as we watch him come down to turn 17. Pops his nose out, but nope, thinks better of it. He's going to stick behind him, knows there's about a minute and a half left. Now it's time. This is our white flag lap. This is his last chance on this lap, or this upcoming lap, once they cross start finish, to make it happen. He's just testing the waters. He's sticking his finger in there, testing what that temperature is. Can he make a pass happen?
This time, is he going to keep it on track? Looks like Dowling figured it out as he stays within the track boundaries through turn one. Sergei just giving watch, not doing anything drastic for the time being. Is he trying to maybe set him up better for a corner later down the line? Last opportunities with the white flag out for this race at the least, and points up for grab. Looks like Sergei's got a decent run, and he is going to try and at least show himself in the mirrors, but he doesn't get that overlap.
Dowling was able to open up just a little bit bigger gap than he did last time. I think what he's done is just reset his brain. He realized he was overdriving a bit. He let Sergei get into his head, but Sergei trying to get around there, goes around. Oh no, Sergei kind of taking himself out there.
And look at that. Peter McCann, just as you said, waited for everything to erupt in front of him and pounced on it. He is through on Arias and Sergei and into fifth.
Now, can he make up one more position? The gap right now from McCann to Dowling, little over a second. I don't think he can make it up unless he just gets a lucky mistake. That's what you wait for. That's what he was waiting for before. But I think Dowling has probably ticked off all the mistakes he was allowing himself to have.
Meanwhile, Boss Rowinkle, who needs to take maximum points, is going to do the first step of it by taking victory here today in the first race of the final round this season in RTA GT1 Series. So Kelly will follow him in second. O'Shea will get third. And then Dowling will wind up beating McCann to the line, so he was not able to recover for that. Romantis 6, and Graboon has to settle for 7th.
Yeah, looking back down the field, just everybody trying to shake it out here. Good drag race to the end. I think the Aston may have gotten that one. Although lights of joy, flashing lights of joy, that was a pretty tight run right there. That was beautifully done from those two drivers.
Yeah, let's take a look at the results. You'll see that Malone got beat by 0.06 of a second there at the line, but it was Rowinkle who took the victory for the first race, as Jordan Kelly, who finished behind him of Rory O'Shea to round out the podium. Adam Dowling will be P4, and Peter McCann to finish up the top 5. First of the Corvettes was Homantis there in 6. Graboon wound up in 7th. After that, Wing-Fei Chan is followed by Ian Malone. That was that drag race to the line. Sean McClements is going to wind up 10th. And then your last couple here that started this race, including 2 DNFs, but Tony Stack and Reed will be the last ones to the line. Now, we're going to double check on the math, but we think that may actually have been the championship, and O'Shea, just by taking that 3rd place, has made himself unreachable mathematically. We'll try and confirm. We got some time, thankfully, with these other 2 races to try and do that, and they're going to get another pace lap to get going. So the main difference here, Michael, is they're going to start as they finished, but this is going to be a 10-minute sprint compared to the 15-minute sprint. So what do you take from that first race and put towards this one, especially considering you have even less time to make anything happen?
You really needed to play the mind game in the first race to apply it to this race. So Peter McCann, like we watched there at the end, he was able to sit back and just watch and wait for those guys to make a mistake. This time, Peter's got to make it happen pretty darn quick. He needs to make those moves happen early on and be a little more aggressive. We've seen in this group over the several seasons we've been with them that they are willing to play the game and even take a little bit of a penalty in that the second race here, this little 10-minute super sprint, I guess we'll call it. I mean, it's almost 2 minutes a lap. We're only looking at 5, maybe 6 laps if we're lucky. So these guys, this is going to be quick. It's all about the mind game that you played in the previous race.
So from what we're seeing on the math, it sounds like things will, no matter what, end in a tie at the top at best if you're Rowinkle. And I'm not sure what the countback is on that, so it's looking increasingly unlikely, if anything, that Rowinkle could do anything to take this championship, if it is even still feasible. Wing-Fei Chan, I want to give a nod to him. Not did he only just get that last lap pass there at the line. He went from 11th to 8th in that first race and did so somewhat unassumingly, as we didn't really see a whole lot of him on the cameras, but was just kind of picking his way forward. So watch out for that yellow and black Aston Martin there on your screen, and keep an eye on him because he could be sneakily moving his way up the order.
We may have a new Mr. Sneaky, I think, could be happening. But yeah, let's watch these guys as they try. This is actually a spot in the race. It's just a pace lap, but this is a point where you can start to play with the mind of the car in front of you. You'll see them jockeying for position, a little bit left, a little bit right, just like they would if they were racing. But you want to get into the brain, you want to get into the head, you want to get into the psyche of the guy in front of you, even while you're just doing your pace lap. But you also need to set the car up right and be in the right position for the start. As we watch them coming down the Ullman Straight here, everybody just going around the Le Mans corner, ready to get started. But look at them. You see they're already spreading out.
Yeah, and prepping the cars, getting ready to go here. As it's not the muggiest day I've seen here at Sebring before, because we saw it was, I think, only about 46% humidity, 40% somewhere around there. But it does look a little hazy in some of the longer shots, and we'll see if anybody is hazy after this one, because it's going to be a flash. It's going to be very few laps that they get done in this event before it is over. So as the pace car now starts to peel away and gives Rowinkle the clear once again, does he go a little late like we saw last time? About the same thing that we saw as Rowinkle's on the gas, and Jordan Kelly, who finished second behind him, is going to stay in second, even though O'Shea's trying to challenge. O'Shea's clear this time on trying to hold on to that third place. Doesn't have to fight into the first corner. Behind them, it's side by side between McCann and Dowling. McCann might be able to come away ahead, but they're still wheel to wheel.
Yeah, the two Corvettes also going side by side through turn one. Looked like they may have decided to say, hey, look, we're the only Corvettes out here. I think we want to be nice to each other. But the racing is on once you get through turn one. That's Homantis and Malone. You can see them just coming into the picture there. Looks like, yeah, trying to close up on this Aston Martin field.
Yeah, I thought he was going to have a go at him coming to the hairpin, but maybe not feeling it here on the first lap of the race. Maybe wants to wait for something cleaner as they come up into Cunningham. Ahead of them, Peter McCann is starting to stretch his legs out a little bit. I got to think his teammates not going to want to let him all that go quickly. So we'll watch and see what happens from here. We're still not even through the first lap, and they're still very nose to tail through the field. Some of them even kicking up dust at a tower.
Yeah, even though it's the first lap, we've got two cars up 2 positions, Ian Malone and looks like Albert Reed, both up 2 positions. But let's look back here at the front of the field. There's Baz trying to open up a gap again, but I don't think Jordan Kelly's going to let quite as big a gap go this race. He wants to hold on tight if he can.
And O'Shea again sitting in third place. Doesn't have to try and overtake, just has to just collect points, which I think he has already done by starting the race. I'll have to double check the rules to see what the situation is. A little bit of a change hands between Tony Stack and Albert Reed. Stack's going to move into 10th with that one. Not sure what happened to Chan there in the yellow and black, but he's suddenly down 4 positions at the back of the field.
Yeah, it looks to me like he was maybe trying to bleed off some speed. Could have gotten a little bit wide. But hard to say, though. Looks like we've got some slow movement from Albert Reed there.
Yeah, I went and watched. Yeah, Chan just had a slow start. Just wasn't very aggressive on it. And Jordan Kelly, oh no, second place. Jordan is off at turn 3. He'll get back onto the track just as Wing Fei actually goes by him. So that moves Jordan down into 11th. O'Shea's promoted into 2nd. Not sure what happened to the 11 there.
Yeah, you got to remember, these cars do not have ABS on them. There is a lot of power to put down, and then you got to whoa it up as we watch a little bit of rubbing as racing going on from these guys. This is our run for P3. That's going to be McCann, Dowling, and Mantis. Looks like Malone's trying to get in and get a piece of this action as well, as both Corvettes have moved up very nicely in the field, sitting in P5 and P6.
Absolutely. That was Dowling on the attack on McCann. Oh, but he's unsteady under the braking into tower. That loses him time. And Homantis is now trying to capitalize on that as they head into Bishop. He needs the exit of his life coming off of Le Mans. Remember, extremely few laps out here. They're already nearly halfway through this race. This is the corner exit where he has got to get the foot down nice and smooth.
Yeah, as we look on board here, this is, a little bit too wide. Both of them too wide, just a bit too much grass. You really can't get much oomph out of the grass here. But as we watch the two Corvettes go side by side into turn 17, they go in side by side. How are they going to come out? Looks like an attempt at an over-under. Can he make it happen? Get up underneath them.
Just chopped him off in time, and man, all that momentum lost has now meant that McClements is through, and the very distinctive Maserati livery on the Aston Martin as he flies into turn 1. That's going to demote the 171 down into 7th position. Let's hold on this 1 second to see if he tries to attack back, and it doesn't look like it. That brings us to a good spot, actually, at the scene of the accident that I've been wanting to get a replay in here. Jordan Kelly, who's back up to 9th already, but I didn't see anybody around, so I'm suspecting, yeah, that was a solo incident.
Yeah, I got a little dirt on the entry. His right side tires got over into the dirt right there as you work your way in. it gets confusing. Now, I've watched a lot of drivers play where they just juke to the left as they go through that. It's kind of a non-turn number 2, but they don't want to get caught up in that grass, and they'll move back right while their left foot is hard on the brakes.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what caught him out in the end. So he's currently running 9th, but he's got all of, looks like 5 minutes to try and recollect what he can. I doubt he's getting into 2nd place because he fell well down the field. And it's about 4 seconds to get to Sergey currently, who's the next one up the road. O'Shea still is in 2nd, behind Rowinkle by about 1 second. There you can see the pair of them coming down the Ullman Straight. Wait for it. The 3rd place car, there they are. That is McCann, leading Dowling, leading Malone, leading McClements, leading Homantis, leading Graboon. That's the massive chunk of the field right there.
Yeah, and then, well, okay, I'll go ahead and finish with your misspeaking earlier. I'm going to say Bullwinkle and Rocky are pulling out the front here, opening up a beautiful gap. Rory O'Shea playing the part of Rocky.
Yeah, really hoping he's not he's not tired of hearing that one, because it really was an honest one. As he's pushing, though, O'Shea is trying his darndest to get that blue and white machine up to the back of Rowinkle. He doesn't want to cruise into this victory. He wants to make this a dominant performance, it seems.
Yeah, he's holding on beautifully this time, only about 1.3 seconds, but look at the gap behind. Going back to Peter McCann, that's 6.5 seconds between O'Shea and McCann. This is looking pretty dominant from these two out front, but let's take a look once again. We've got McCann, Dowling, Malone, McClements, Homantis. This little pack right here is really putting on a beautiful show. This is the battle for 3rd among 6 different cars, and you might even be able to slide a 7th one in there because, you know, I think Jordan Kelly has the talent to work his way back up into this group.
This is the best thing he could hope for right now, is that this group just keeps battling and battling, and that's a buffet of positions he could pick up maybe on the last lap, which I think they're going to get the white flag next time by, potentially. No, it's going to be 2 to go next time, it looks like, as they will get there before 2 minutes left. But look at how tight up behind McClements Homantis is staying. He is right there, just glued to the bumper, trying to maybe shake him off the racing line and see if he can scare him out of there, or just shove him off as he gets into him. He's going to try and hold it. He gets hit back straight as Sergey now gets the car moving, but that is serious damage for McClements with a hard hit.
Yeah, I can't say that was intentional. It didn't look intentional to me. That's a really unfortunate racing incident. As we watch him heading up into turn 17, trying to hold onto the car. I wonder if he's got a little damage there, or maybe he's bleeding off a penalty. It's hard to say.
Well, Sergey's coming in. No, he's going to stay out, but McClements has a black and orange flag, so he's going to come in and take that spare car. Not sure why, because he should be able to finish the race unless, well, yeah, no.
That's a lot of toe on that right front.
Never mind. Well, it's missing now. It looks like it's updated, and he's lost the tire, unfortunately. So, well, sad to see that, and he's going to lose a lot of positions. But Jordan Kelly's up 2 because of that, and he's got another in his sights already. That's Homantis in the 171, just up in front. How eager is this 11 car?
Ooh, I think Kelly is finding that he has a chance to get back up there. Can he get all the way to Peter McCann? He's well, about a 10th off the back of Homantis, but it's 3 seconds from Homantis on up to the next car. But we've been watching Kelly in the previous race and this race really put down some blazing lap times, tries to go around the outside, and he's gonna make it as they head their way through Collier. He is in front at Collier, working their way down towards the tower turn. He has that done and dusted.
I mean, despite the mistake, this is a hell of a drive out of Jordan Kelly, and he's going to have to work for it. As the last time someone got the bumper from Homantis, they got shoved off course. Let's see if Arias is going to stay a little cleaner this time as they come down into Jean Dembier. And yeah, he is well off the back of him this time, and he doesn't want a repeat of what he had before. So Kelly is off like a shot, and now he tries to chase down Malone in 5th.
I wonder if Arias has a little bit of damage. Maybe he didn't seem to have quite the ability to get into the corner, but this time he was behind Kelly. Kelly is, I think, just a little bit faster, has maybe a tiny bit better setup for the car, being able to get it to rotate a little bit better coming around, I think that was Le Mans as we were watching them.
White flag lap now for Rowinkle, a second and a half ahead of O'Shea. So looks like they've now separated. In fact, most of our battles have split enough. Let's try and see if we can get a replay to really analyze what happened to McClements here. And I'm just, from what I saw, he just gets hit from behind. That sends him into a slide that he just about saves.
Yeah, it was close to being saved. He probably could have made his way out with losing only one position, but unfortunately trying to, right there, just a little bit of a shove. And then, bam, right here, the car trying to come back underneath. Sometimes it's hard to tell. You want to go where they were, not where they're going. And as McClements was able to kind of get control of the car, it caused the car behind him, that chasing car, to think he was going off to the left, and he pulled back to the right and into the path of the chasing car.
Looks like Dowling and McCann still trying to sort out that podium position, and Ian Malone is in there. He could maybe get up to the podium himself, but it's going to take something drastic for the pair of them to change hands at this stage. And Boss Rowinkle up at the front has another win. Again, doing everything he needed to do, but it was not enough. And it seems like despite the impressive pace out of this 58 machine, Rory O'Shea is just as consistent and not quite as quick here today, but quick enough and as quick as he needs to be to claim the championship, because win number 2 goes to Boss Rowinkle. Rory O'Shea at this point is absolutely your champion officially in that number 3 car. Peter McCann is going to wind up rounding out the podium. Very good result there from 5th on the grid.
Yeah, nicely done from Peter McCann. Now, I'm really kind of interested to see what Rowinkle does starting in 8th position. He does not have control because if you recall, the last race, we're going to invert the top 8. So Rowinkle, having won this race, is going to start the next one in P8. So no control of the start. Can he work his way through the field?
Good question, but here's the race results. We're going to be off into a warm-up session here for a bit so we can take some time. Rowinkle, as we mentioned, taking the win, and O'Shea following him home just about 2 seconds back. Again, didn't really matter if he finished P2. That was definitely it. Peter McCann was 3rd, and Adam Dowling P4 was Ian Malone gets a top 5 today. Jordan Kelly could have had a 2nd place, spun himself out, and then had to climb back to 6. Arias Omantis having some contact, maybe making a few friends out there to take 7th in the end. Tony Stack P8 and Wing-Fei Chan P9. Sergei Grabun, not the greatest today, has also ran into some trouble there during the race, had to settle for 10th. Reed McClements both finishing 11th and 12th, and then Gandor and Muddy DNFs on this race. I do believe that we've got our winner. I think it is. I'm double checking on this. In the meantime, I do have our champion, basically, Rory O'Shea, ready to talk to us, 2nd place. And Rory, that by our estimations on the math, which isn't always reliable, should crown you champion no matter what from here. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's been a very good season against some really, really tough competition. So I feel very, very proud to have gotten the title, even with a race to go.
I'm sure that's a weight off your shoulders, especially with the regrid on this one. A 3rd and a 2nd. Obviously, it'd be better to try and come home with a win on one of them, but a double podium back to back, probably a testament really to the consistency that you've shown so far.
Yeah, well, I guess that's what I've just aimed to do really over the course of the season. Just consistency. Like, there's been probably maybe only one round where I've been the quickest overall, but I've just picked up the points where I can and just picked up the pieces from other people's crashes and stuff like that, you know?
Well, again, congratulations. Best of luck in the final race of the season. Can you finally get that win since you already got the other 2 steps of the podium done?
Yeah, I've nothing to lose now, so I might as well go for it.
All right. That was Rory O'Shea, champion and second and third in the first two races. Looks like Michael Johnson's caught up with Peter McCann, third place finisher in this most recent race.
So, Peter, you got a lot of camera time these last two races. I think I called it pretty well the previous race where I was saying, yep, sitting in the catbird seat, just waiting for mistakes to jump on. And that put you in a beautiful position for this short 10-minute race. How did that unfold for you? Was it exactly like you thought it was going to be?
You made it sound very easy, Michael. No, I don't really have pace around here, and was lucky with the start to pass Adam into T1, and then I think it was Jordan that had a bit of trouble, so I actually didn't even realise I was third until until the last lap, and Rob was telling me in my ear I had the podium, so it was good.
Yeah, so nice job. Looked like you were relatively under control. Teammate sitting on your tail, was that planned that he was going to sit there and keep everyone off, or was it I'm going to go and try to beat you?
Oh no, with the VRA boys, it's probably more dangerous having a teammate behind you. So
oh well, yeah, I've been in that position too, where racing against a teammate and they want it more than you do. So what about the next race? You're P3 here, so that's going to put you in the 8-7. So you're starting in 6th position. Should work out pretty good for you if the first two races are any indication.
Yeah, it should be okay. I know I'll have Bass and Rory, who are, I don't know, freaky fast around here. So I'm sure they'll filter through, and I'll try and do what I can to stay with them, and hopefully it gets me somewhere again.
Well, if Baz and Rory are able to get around you, just, try to follow them through. I make that sound easy too, don't I?
You do. Yeah.
Well, who do you have to thank for these first two races and the next one?
Definitely Rob and Andrew. Everybody that's behind RTA. It's been a savage championship again. It hasn't really gone the way I might have expected it to be. I'd rather be a bit closer to the pointy end, but it's been as good as always.
Well, we are coming to the end of the warm-up, which looks like you didn't get any time in, but it was a pleasure to talk to you anyway. Good luck in the next race, or should I say break a leg, break an axle? I'm not sure how it would go for that.
Thanks, Michael.
And with that, I'll toss it back to Joe.
Yep. So that's going to wrap us up here for the interviews before we head to the final race. Longest event of the afternoon at 20 minutes, and should produce some interesting racing because of that reverse. And on top of things, it will also, I believe, help Jordan Kelly out tremendously. Wonder if he could keep it together and maybe find himself with an opportunity to win, considering he was very quick in that first race, and then obviously was just scything through the field in that second race. So now that he's regrid and the inside of the second row with a lot of the faster drivers behind him, this should be to his advantage. Speaking of which, let's take a look at that grid here for the final event of today. Tony Stack will be on the pole, and R.S. Fomentis will start from second. So there you go. You got one of the Corvettes on the front row. Jordan Kelly will be P3. Ian Malone will start from fourth, and Adam Dowling will start P5. Peter McCann, as we heard earlier, will start from 6. Rory O'Shea, P7 for him, as Boss Rowinkle will start from 8th. Wing Fei Chan will be P9 as we get into the cars that are not regrid. Sergei Grabun will round out your top 10. Albert Reed starts from 11th. Sean McClements 12th. And it looks like we do have Gandor out there, so he's regrid, but we do not have Jacob Money back yet, so I think he's out of this final race as the pace car now takes off and leads them around. So what do you think? Are we going to see that Corvette stay up front, Michael, or are we going to see Jordan Kelly maybe try and make use of this great chance?
So if I were to have to call the winner of this race, I would just go for the easy answer and say it's going to be Baz again. But Jordan Kelly has probably the best chance of anyone in our first two rows. The Corvettes, I mentioned it earlier, I don't think the Corvettes have what it takes in iRacing to do it. The Aston Martin is easier to drive. It's more consistent in its reaction to bumps. The way iRacing has put the car together, I think it's going to be Aston. I would not put my money on either of the Corvettes.
All right, so they'll be starting one ahead of the other in those Corvettes. So they will have the track position, but maybe not the machine under them for a track such as this as they come down towards the hairpin. And in spite of some of the cloud cover that we've been seeing during the races, by the way, it has only increased the temperature somehow. It's 120 Fahrenheit now on the track surface. So it's just been cooking hotter and hotter, which I'm sure, honestly, is even worse for these Corvettes as well.
Yeah, the Corvettes don't play as well with the changing temperature in the track. I raced in a different series with the Aston Martin and the Corvette, and I found that the hotter the track got, even a year or so ago, that the Aston Martin just played better. I wanted to like the Corvette. I really did. It is a really cool car, but the Aston Martin just plays better in all these track conditions.
That seems to be very much playing into the hands of all these Astons that have flooded the field in this very UK and I-centric series. So as they come now out of Tower towards Bishop. Again, last race of the season for the GT1s. And will we get all 13 to the finish line? In what order will they be in for that one? Will we see Rory O'Shea managed to finally get a victory in this last one now that he's already claimed the championship, ended on a high note maybe, and pull one over on Rowinkle, deny him that momentum heading into the next season possibly? It'll all be questions that we'll see answered pretty soon, because we have already reached the Ullman Straight and getting ready to start this last race.
Yeah, look at them again. Actually, a little better this time. We saw a lot more movement last time. But, well, actually, in that left-hand column, the right side of your screen, they are kind of doing this little, well, now everybody's going for it. So I think we're watching some jockeying for position here. Watch for, I think, Baz and Rory are going to try to make a big run here at turn one.
Championship is over, nothing to lose. All that's left is to take the wins, and Boss, if he wins, would sweep this race with all three races, and that would be quite something. And he can say that he did what he needed to do, obviously, and it was just out of his hands from there. All right, pace car heading in. Controlled is Tony Stack there in the number 8 machine. And the green flag is out. He waited a long time for that one. And that actually gets a very good jump to Jordan Kelly. Kelly might be able to slot up into second by the time they get into turn 1. To his outside, Homantis is going to let him go. And we get a spin. That's actually Rowinkle. I think Wing Fei Chan making contact with the 58.
Now let's see just how good Rowinkle is. Can he, from such a disadvantageous position, make it back up into the podium position? Watching him race earlier, I would not put it beyond him, but he's got a lot of cars to get past.
It's a 7-second difference between him and Tony Stack right now, and that might change to Jordan Kelly, who outbreaks him down into the hairpin, and it might be 2 positions down as there goes Homantis into second place. Kelly is your new leader.
Oh, and we've got a spin back there coming out of the I always call it the hotel corner. But yeah, that looks like, is that Peter McCann? No, that's Gandor. Gandor is spun.
Yeah, not sure if he had help or not. I'm checking to see. I think he did have a little help on that.
A little bit of help. It wasn't nefarious or anything. It was just a little bit of a racing incident, I think.
Yep. So unfortunate to see after he had his connection issues earlier on that he can't even carry on from there. Tony Stack has been bleeding positions left and right. Rory O'Shea, we asked whether he could take the win. Well, he's already up to 4th, possibly onto the podium as he's threatening on the number 8 machine. If he can get an exit out of Le Mans that sets him up well, he could try and attack into Sunset Bend. Here he goes. It looks decent to me.
Yeah, the number 3 car sitting right on the tail of Tony Stack, our pole sitter, back to third. But looking back up to the front, there is a bit of a push. It looks like Omantis is trying to make a move on Kelly. Can he make it stick? Nope. It looks like as we go to turn 17 that Kelly is going to come out in front. But let's let that Corvette put the power down as, Kelly goes a little bit wide coming out of there. Maybe a little overzealous, not quite enough heat in the tires as he thought he had.
Yeah, he dipped his wheels into the grass, and he's having a hard time because Arias has that extra grunt that the Corvette carries on the straight line speed. Here comes O'Shea. O'Shea's now involved, although he gets a punt from behind as that was Tony Stack making contact with him. O'Shea still the inside and losing grip. Omantis goes off, and there goes a good race for the orange Corvette.
Oh, he was doing so nicely too, and just a little bit too much speed trying to get in there. There may have been a tiny touch, but I didn't really catch one. It looked like maybe a self-spin as he went in there.
Little contact now between McCann and Dowling. Dowling, the car ahead, sitting in fourth, trying to keep up with Tony Stack, who gets promoted back onto the podium once again. Weaving back and forth. Late defense there from Dowling to prevent McCann from trying anything into Cunningham. As this is going on, Rowinkle's in this group. He is up to 8th already, and he is only 4.5 seconds behind Jordan Kelly, so he is gaining ground on the leader.
Yep, back to where he started putting some pressure right now on Sean McClemens, trying to close up this gap a little bit, going left, going right, going left, trying to make these positions up. I think he might have a chance of getting back up to the podium as we watch the number 58 machine work its way through, getting a nice run into Le Mans. Beautifully done on that pass, puts the power down, tries to make his way down the straight into turn 17. Is he going to be able to hold on to that position?
That car you saw spearing off was Albert Reed. He doesn't hit anything. He gets back on in 12th. So there you see in the black Aston back on the circuit. So yeah, that was an impressive move there from Rowinkle to make that pass through Jean at the end. You rarely see passes in there, and especially not the second part of it.
Yeah, it's difficult. You've got to be super confident. Now, even in real life, you're not, a little bit wider than we were expecting.
A little.
Is that, but well controlled through, I think that will be the John Deere award of the day right there.
That's a lot bit wide. He really speared it off the course. And Tony Stack is still in third. Adam Dowling fourth. And now Peter McCann somehow back on the circuit in 5th position. Down to the inside of the hairpin. Looks like Dowling's not able to get the spot. We could call it the hotel corner as well. And now they head towards Fangio. This group, though, battling amongst one another, might be holding up Rowinkle a bit.
Yeah, I always call it hotel corner because it doesn't feel quite like a hairpin. Even though its official name, I believe, is hairpin, it just doesn't feel like it. Doesn't come all the way back on itself. But the hotel's right there, so I always call it hotel corner. But look at this. Look at back. He's close. Rowinkle wants this position. He is right up on the tail of that Budweiser car. Ian Malone feeling the pressure. Oh, he may need to pop a bud right now to cool off a bit with all that heat coming from behind.
Yeah, no kidding. And he's going to once again get right up to the rear of the vet and now try and exit off the corner. This is where it might be a little bit more difficult. The legs of the bow tie get to stretch out and pull away. Yeah, he is nowhere near. Meanwhile, in front of them, McCann has caught up to Dowling, but he decides not to try and make the move into Sunset Bend. Tony Stack in front of them. Commendable job here from the 8 car to hold on to this third place as long as he has.
Yeah, Tony Stack started in first, had a little bit of trouble. I think he got passed pretty much right on the start. But Rory O'Shea, he had a mission. He was going to make his way back up. And there he is making the fastest lap of the race so far. Beautifully timed run, trying to get around here. Rory O'Shea only about 3/4 of a second off Jordan Kelly. Jordan Kelly trying to hold on to that lead as best he can.
Stack cuts back with a great exit coming off of turn 5. Not so good for Dowling. McCann knows it, but he's got a car defending down to the inside of the hairpin. So he'll have to do it the long way around, and Dowling is having to send it deep, nearly coming up to the back of Stack as well, and keeps him off. My favorite story, speaking of the name of that hairpin, is after it was changed in the 90s, apparently drivers referred to it as the safety pin because they had changed the runoff in it.
It's much closer to a safety pin if you look at the shape, an opened up safety pin. It really does have kind of the same feel to it. I had never heard it called that out. Maybe it was just my bullheadedness always wanting to call it something else as we watch. Oh, what was he saying about teammates not playing nicely together during the interview? I think we may have a little bit of that going on now.
Yeah, but this is McCann that's making those aggressive moves, so he is he's on it, and so is Rowinkle. A little bit too on it. He chucks it into the corner. Oh, but trying to come back at him. Malone wants the racing line, and there's a car there. He can't go anywhere. He pulls off to the side. Something's wrong with Malone's car, and I think, no, he hit the incident limit. So he had to come, he didn't have to take a tow, but he's decided to in the end, and that's a little bit disappointing, but that promotes Rowinkle into 5th now.
Into 5th, but there was one of the orange and white Astons that was going slow down the Ullman Straight. I didn't see, that must have been a penalty there. Hard to say what was going on there, but if we take a look back up, Rowinkle, he is up to 5th position now. Fell back all the way to the back, then got back to his starting position within about a lap and a half. Now he's up to 5th. Man on a mission? I think so.
Very much so. That was Gandor that you saw, by the way, as he was a lap down. So he was not racing them and just decided to give it up. Dowling no longer has his teammate behind him to try and attack, so it's just himself and Stack, or at least it would be if they didn't have Boss Rowinkle charging up the order behind them. Sergey went a little wide, and the 12 car gets back onto the circuit after a brief off.
Yeah, that's a really, I think this being the close of the season and the last race, and it pretty much everything all wrapped up. This is where this is kind of, the 4-Drink Friday, where they just go and they have fun. I think these guys are just out there to have some fun.
Yes, absolutely. And it's given us a lot of fun, too, in the process. And this is about to get pretty frantic here because the aggression we've seen out of Rowinkle, to me, says that he is going to use Dowling's distraction with Stack to try and make a swift move. And it looks like Homantis, unfortunately, off. And I think that was Chan that he's off course with as well there in Tower Corner. Here we go. This is Stack under attack from Dowling around the outside up to Sunset Bend.
Trying to, now there are 17 ways in and 17 ways out of this corner. Which one are we going to choose as they both try to get the power down? And now it's a drag race. The drag race is on. Right now it looks like Stack is holding on, but just eking up here when they cross through start finish. But going into turn 1, I think this may be done. Nope, not done yet. Now let's watch what happens to go into the braking zone at turn 3.
Dowling still has the inside, and he's braver on the brakes. Job done, finally. It took him a bit, but the 4 is now into P3. Stack suddenly sees Rowinkle up on top of him. O'Shea, by the way, has been trying to chase down Kelly, but it's been stuck at about 0.6 of a second. Still, we have only just passed the halfway mark recently, so there's plenty of racing left to go. This is not over.
Yeah, I would not put it beyond Rowinkle to get up onto the podium, even the top step. But this is once again showing up as a beautiful battle from that P3, P4 position. Just a couple, look at that, all the way back to P7. We're all right in this nice, tight little group of racers.
Kind of cut back. Does he dare try it down in the tower? Is he that anxious to get through? No. He's going to open up the corner. Defense, though, from Tony Stack will make it a shallow line and a better exit for Boss. He gets the outside as they head towards Bishop. It's hard to go too wide through here, but he's going to have just enough space, and it'll give him the inside down at Jean Debienne. Job's not done yet.
Nope, not done yet, but too wide going through here. He set this up before. He's got a shallow entry into Le Mans, but then puts down the power And I think it's all in setup. I think that Baz has just got a better setup to come off that corner.
McCann really got a great run, too. He went by Stack with that one, but didn't have the momentum to get inside of Rowinkle there. And all that messing around, unfortunately for Rowinkle, I remember at one point mentioned he was about 6 seconds back from the leader. He's 12 seconds back now. So he maybe wasted a little bit too much time trying to get by some of these guys and has found a lot of lost time now. The good news for him is he's got quite a bit of clear track, and also the car in front of him very far off. There he goes. No, he's going to lose it and slide back across the course. Well, there's another spot right there as Dowling unfortunately throws away what would have been a handy podium potentially.
Wow, Code Brown ×2 as he brings it around one more time. That had to be a major Code Brown for Rowinkle, who is now into P3 with that incident. So went from 8th up, I think maybe 1 or 2 on the start, then all the way to the back, works his way back up.
Wait, Rowinkle, I just realized his laps have not been counting. He has a black flag. Rowinkle has too many incidents, I think. So he's gonna have to come in and serve that drive-through penalty.
Oh, man, that's tough. So black flag for Rowinkle. He has 3 laps to serve that penalty. Is he going to make it through? That'll be interesting. I see a black flag for Rowinkle right now, but I wonder. He should be getting the notification in his car for that.
Yeah, and it's been 3 laps, so he has to come in this time, or else he'll be DQ'd. So we'll see. Maybe this is a bug. We're trying to figure out if this is just a glitch in the system, but this will answer it for sure, because if he carries on and he doesn't disappear, then yes, he did legitimate, or he doesn't disappear, then it was a glitch. But if he does disappear, then he legitimately had a black flag and he was disqualified, which would be a real shame to see him end things out.
Yeah, going slow right here. There looks like he's going to hold it tight and go in and serve that penalty. Yep, there he goes into the pit lane.
It is a black flag. Okay. Well, okay, Peter McCann, now your 3rd place driver. This has been a topsy-turvy race. Jordan Kelly's still leading. O'Shea is still at about 0.7 of a second behind, but just has been unable to make any inroads on that one. And McCann, not sure that he's got the ability to catch up to O'Shea. It's about 13 seconds, so it's going to have to be some hefty pace to really try and do something with that. Rowinkle returns in 8th for what it's worth. He's now 33 seconds behind the leader and about 2 seconds behind Dowling ahead of him.
Dowling not happy to have Rowinkle behind him again, I am sure. That was some interesting racing before, but hey, you know what? It could just be this is the last race, like we were saying. Let's go have some fun. So let's watch these guys to see if they try to play up the fun aspect of this. They'll probably be, I don't know, about 2 or 3 laps right into the thick of it.
By the way, we've lost Ian Malone in this race and Jamal Gandour again. He's been in pit lane taking repairs for some time. We still have 11 drivers out on the track for the time being. Hamantis, who we saw on screen briefly, running in 9th, kind of gave away a good position early in the race. McClements has caught up to the back of Tony Stack as well, and they got Sergey in the 12 also just behind them. So interesting little battle brewing in and amongst these guys, but you can see time flies fast here at Sebring. We're less than 5 minutes to go now.
Yeah, now this little pack as we see here, that's going to be Stack, McClements, and Griven, I think? Yes. And there is, once again, evidence of the multiple entries and exits for turn 17. They all come out pretty much where they started off. Gaps have not changed, but you saw each of them went in a different way. They all came out pretty much the same way. Now, back into turn 1. Now we've got a chance for that pass down to the as they pass the braking zone, which is the not turn 2 going into turn 3, still holding on to position. Now the next chance is going to be going down into the hotel corner.
A little bit of wheel spin there for McClements, though. That's going to hurt him. So Stack looks clear. Sergey probably thinks there's something if he wants to be aggressive, and he does. He's going to show himself. He's way far back, though. Yeah, I was going to say that's never going to happen. And indeed, he is not able to outbrake the Aston Martin that time by. So on they go towards Cunningham. This is all for the fourth position that we're seeing on screen currently, and not that far behind, actually, Peter McCann there in third. So he's not really run away from them.
They're only about a second and a half off of Peter McCann. Peter, I think he wants to hold on to this P3. He'd like to be on the podium twice. But one thing about that pop out that we saw before from Sergey, I will do the exact same thing. If I'm following a train of two cars, if I'm in a downforce car, in a car that has aero to it, I'm actually going to pop out. I'll get better braking when I sit out there, because I will then have the effect of the downforce. If I'm sitting right in line with those other two cars, I'm going to get a whole lot of wing wash, and my braking is going to be less effective. I'm going to wear out my tires a little more. So sometimes popping over is the right thing to do.
Words of wisdom from Michael Johnson. And, well, there you go. He does it again. But this time he's also not going to get the overlap, but still gets the air on that very important right-hander into Sunset Bend. 2 laps to go this time by for everybody, as the leaders passed with just over 2 minutes left on the clock. This battling pack for fourth place, almost stationary compared to what we witnessed before, where positions were swapped every corner, if not every lap.
Yeah, I think we had a little bit of activity taking people out because, like we were saying, last race, everything's pretty well decided, but all the fun is done. We were watching 4, 5, 6 cars racing for this position in the last 2 races. They've kind of taken themselves out. A little bit of over-aggressiveness, over-zealousness maybe, trying to get the car around, and that unfortunate black flag for Rowinkle.
Yeah, that really stole us what would have been a fascinating few laps to see if he could try and chase down O'Shea, because he definitely looked quick. Rowinkle's actually catching up to Dowling, so he might still be able to have 7th, but I don't think anything past that, because we're getting ready to get the white flag pretty soon. And Jordan Kelly, who we said was perhaps the best poised coming into this race based on gridding positions, has grasped this one with both hands. He's got a full 2 seconds over O'Shea by now.
Yeah, I think O'Shea is also pretty well resigned to second place. He was battling there, 8/10, 6/10, maybe right up in the low 6th, then back to 8. I think he realized time to just back off a little bit. I got 16 seconds to McCann behind me, and he's in a battle of his own, or almost in a battle of his own, just trying to hold position and hold on to that top 3rd spot at the podium. So I think O'Shea just kind of is checked out here and going, no, I'm good with 2nd.
By the way, Dowling has lost 7th place to Rowinkle, slipped up exiting tower, and had to hand it over. Boss now up 1 more. White flag is out there. You see Rowinkle on your screen right now. 13 seconds to Sergey, unless somebody wrecks in front of him. This is as high as you're going to see that scarlet-colored car. Jordan Kelly, though, now on your screen, down into the hotel corner, and O'Shea following him through as they work their way towards Fangio. Kelly just basically has to just hit his marks from here, and this is job done.
But you have to be careful. I have seen far too many drivers realize they've got a 2, 3, 4 second lead and back way off. Then you lose your timing, you lose your touch. Nothing happens when you thought it was, or at least it was for the first 18 minutes of a 20-minute race, and you end up making a big mistake. So Jordan Kelly, though, I think he's too smart of a driver. We've talked to him many times. He knows what he's doing. I think he's going to try to maintain reasonably good pace, 95, 98% of what he was doing before, and just hold on to this top position as we watch him make his way down. Oh, that was almost too wide, but make his way down the Ullman Straight for the last time.
Yeah, that is a pretty wide curb, so I think he still was on there and not into the grass. But it's that handy 2-second gap as he chucks it into Sunset Bend. And this 17th corner for the 11th lap will give a win in the last race of the season for the GT1 Series in the RTA for Jordan Kelly.
Nice job from Jordan Kelly with Rory O'Shea sticking right there at that 2-second mark, trying to hold on to it. Just did exactly what he needed to do. But let's go back now to Peter McCann with Tony Stack, McClemens, and Graven here fighting for that last position on the podium.
He may have fallen from where he started, but man, Tony Stack earned that 4th place. That was unbelievable. McClements up 7 positions just behind him in that number 10 car. And the rest of them trundle across the line with 11 cars seeing the checkered flag in the season finale. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to ride around the world.
I'm Mick Claridge, and I'm going to ride around the world on my bike.
My son, he gave me advice at the start of this ride, and he looked at me and just said, "Dad, don't be a moron."
Let me do my animal signal to gain their respect. How's it going, Sally?
Yeah, I'm alright, Mick. How's it going?
Worse than that bit in Lord of the Rings where they got into the top and the spiders in the tunnel. I'm just hoping there's a spider at the top of this one to kill me. Freezing.
And I failed. I moroned up the ride.
Welcome back to Sebring International Raceway. The season finale for the RTA GT1 Series sees Jordan Kelly take the final win out of the 3 races after starting from 3rd on the regrid. Rory O'Shea didn't get the win in the last round, but he got the last laugh with the championship, I'd say. Second place, and 3rd place, his finishing positions over the course of the 3 races. Peter McCann gets another podium to his name, starting from 6. So same position as last time for him. Tony Stack from the pole after the regrid fell down to 4th, but man, held on very admirably with a lot of fast cars behind him. McClements, one of those, in 5th at the end. Sergei Graboon wounds up in 6th. Boss Rowinkle, his last race did not go as planned as he got spun in the very first corner. Fought his way back through the field and then got a penalty for too many incidents. Had to just go for 7th today. Dowling was P8. And Helmontis, who started on the front row, also with a bad day and only 9th place. Wing Fei Chan rounds out your top 10. Last one on the lead lap as well, because Albert Reed, a lap down, was 11th. Gandor and Malone did not finishes today. Do believe we've got Jordan ready to chat with us, and not sure how it felt from his end, but it sure felt satisfying to watch from our side. Because Jordan, first race, it seemed like you didn't quite have the pace to challenge for that win. Second race, an honest mistake cost you a chance at a podium. Suddenly the regrid put you back in a good spot, and it looked like you weren't going to let the 3rd try get away from you.
Thankfully, on the last race this season, I got a 1, but it's such a car that's so hard to drive. But I just felt in that last race that I finally made it, got fast in it, so good to get the 1. Like.
Rory was holding on to you from much of it. Did he make you nervous at all, especially knowing how consistent he's been this season?
Rory was. I've known from the get-go, Rory's just been quick as hell in these cars, and it's just so tough keeping him behind. But thankfully, I think maybe halfway through that race, I found a wee bit of pace. So I thankfully broke the toe a wee bit and just held him back. But any small mistake, and Rory was getting past. Like, he's just so consistent. Like, it's crazy. Like, so fair play to Rory as well for winning the championship. So. He deserves it after that season now.
Indeed. Well, it's It's been fun to watch you guys out in these GT1 cars. You've had a full season to run them. What are your thoughts now that you've had a chance to bond with it?
No, that last race I was enjoying it a bit, but every race up to that point was just a complete disaster, from spinning to locking the duff, just anything imaginable I done it in the car, and it'll be good to get back in the skippies now for the next season. So see how that goes.
I can understand the sentiments on that, Jordan. Well, congratulations on the win. Anybody you want to thank before you head out?
Just thank Rob and Andrew for setting up a nice, fun league where everybody just comes on, has a bit of crack, and just chills out for a Tuesday night. You always look forward to it during the week, like, so. It's well run, and hopefully we'll see more people out in the skippies and have some more good racing.
Great stuff there from Jordan Kelly, who takes the win in the last race of the season. Michael Johnson, though, has caught up with the second-place finisher Rory O'Shea, who started from 7th and wound up on the podium again.
Rory, quite the run there, starting back where you were. We talked about it a little bit in your last interview, but you were able to work your way back through the field and just show why you are the series champion.
Yeah, it was tough to get back up, like, because there's some quick guys, but I guess that's maybe why I managed to get to championship, just because I'm pretty decent in those reverse good races, just keeping it clean and picking up the points where I can, you know.
So in this last race, you were up to almost 0.6 off of Jordan. You were really trying to push it there for a while, and then it looked like you went, you know what? Second place is good enough. Let me back off a little bit. I got 15 or so seconds behind me. Was that what happened, or did it just maybe a tiny little mistake cause the gap to open up?
I think it was more on Jordan. I think he started doing qualifying laps, lap after lap, and I really just couldn't keep up with him. I think I was driving as good as I could. I think he was just driving unbelievably, really.
Indeed he was. He ended up with the win on that one. But coming back from 7th, I think you started in 7th, make your way up to P2 for the last race. It seems like this GT1 car really speaks to you.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that. I wasn't entirely sure how good I would be, because I don't do a lot of GT racing on iRacing, so I thought I'd struggle, but I've fallen in love with this car. I think I might need to do a lot more with it after now that the season is done.
It is indeed a fun car to race. I raced the GT1, this exact car, a couple of seasons ago in a different league, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. How was it taking it to the Corvettes with this Aston Martin?
Well, there wasn't that many Corvettes on the grid, but I felt like the Corvettes on the straights were so strong. Like at places like Road Atlanta, you could really see them where the advantage was. But I think overall the Aston Martin was just better in the corners and basically everywhere else.
Yeah, I that's why I ended up choosing driving the Aston Martin as well when I was doing it a couple of seasons ago. So who do you have to thank for one, the P2 today, and 2, the championship?
Yeah, I just want to thank my team, High Pre and Pix and John and Tom and everyone there, and of course the RTA guys, Rob and all. You know, I joined 2 seasons ago and they've put on a fantastic championship, and I will, continue to race in that.
Well, thank you, Rory. That was Rory O'Shea, our second place finisher and our championship winner. But that it gives an opportunity for Joe Peak to talk to Peter McCann.
Indeed. The number 65 taking another third place in a row here. Peter, you talked before we went into the race about having to race against teammates. You wound up being the one filling his mirrors this time. What was that like?
It's a tough place to pass around. Again, if spots just came to me in that race I just try and sail around at 99, 98% and hope it it comes to me in that kind of way. I think I don't really know that I passed the car legitimately on track in that race. But yeah, happy with third.
Sometimes that's just how it works, especially in cars as fast, as difficult as these. This is pretty high-end machinery. Even on iRacing, GT1s have so much grunt underneath them. I mean, is that part of the reasoning for your approach of just kind of let the race come to you? You feel like maybe it's better to race your own race than worry about anybody else?
Yeah, to a degree, if you're trying to race these lap after lap side by side, especially somewhere like the first sector in Sebring, it just I find it doesn't work. Someone makes a mistake eventually or something. They're great cars and they bring great racing, but there's a serious danger always there lurking with these Astons and Corvettes.
Certainly seems like it. But man, thanks for a fantastic show out there. Twice now you got involved in some of the biggest battles that we saw. Who do you want to thank that helped bring you a double podium?
As always, the guys behind this series and all the series we've raced so far, Rob Parks and Andrew Murphy, this thing has just taken off and it's gone to crazy levels now at this stage. And you guys too, because these streams are one of the best parts of the championship too, watching them back when we all get finished here tonight. We always watch them back. It's always brilliant. So thanks a million.
Well, thank you very much. That was Peter McCann, who finished third here today in the last race of the afternoon. So that's going to wrap us up. And we also want to give a big thank you to the community for bringing us on to broadcast these pair of races for the season. Also, thanks to the team today, Michael, Zach, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, and our merchandise store. We got links down in the description below for those. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Be sure to check out our other broadcasts that we have listed on the screen. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.